Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., all rights reserved.
Little Steely Dan bringing us back. That's Reeling in the Years. That song, that's a good one. 7 till, I'm Jim Blasingame. Thank you very much for being part of my day. Joel Barker's our guest, one of my favorite folks in the Brain Trust, someone that I was admiring and following for many years before we actually got together and met and been working together now as a member of our Brain Trust. Joel, thank you again for all that you do for so many people and what you've done for us. Joel, as you know, folks, as you heard me say, one of the leading futurists of our time. And his website is joelbarker.com. Please go there and check it out. Do yourself a favor and find out what Joel has to say. Joel, thanks again for being here and bringing these new things that are coming at us from the future. One of them is a new way of dealing with a very controversial method of extracting oil from the earth. Tell us what fracking is, then tell us what this thing is.
Yep, quick history. Shale has lots and lots, and when I say lots and lots, I mean trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, and it's scattered all over the world. We never knew how to get the gas out. About 10 years ago,
it's bound up in these little crevices in the shale, isn't it?
Trapped inside the shale in teeny little amounts, and it can't get out. It's basically it's like a prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 years ago, some guys in Oklahoma City figured out how to fracture the shale to release the gas. That's called fracking. That's where that term comes from. The dilemma was they did it with water. They did it by pumping hundreds of thousands of gallons of water down deep shafts under 15,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Worked great, but it had lots of potential problems with the water.
Because they also had to include chemicals with the water, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they got better at it. They added more and more stuff. So here's what's interesting. Excuse me, Jim. And here's what's especially interesting, because this happens in all new technologies. People figure out how to do it better.
Well, hold on. Before you get to that, let me just take one other thing.
Okay.
The reason this is controversial, folks, is because even though the fracking takes place thousands of feet below the water table, a lot of communities are concerned that these chemicals are going to get in their water table, and that's the reason why you hear people pushing back, and the reason it's so controversial. Now go ahead.
Right, though I will say this. We have gotten just in the second stage of that, they started capturing about 80% of those chemicals coming back, so that threat dropped pretty dramatically. But it still was there, so I accept their concerns. The Chinese, now this is interesting because here they are, leaders in this, figured out they could do it by using superheated hot gas, which causes you need no water at all. Just for
heat
starting.
is an amazing releaser.
Yeah, and so the heat expands. They make it heat up very fast, which is very rapid expanse, just like the pressure. But the pressure is only momentary, and then they put pumice in with it, and it blows these little particles into the crevices to keep them open, and you get the same result with almost no potential
and no leachate of chemicals, that sort of thing. You know, folks, and the reason this is great, if you know anything about centrifugation, using centrifuges to separate different classes of materials in an emulsion, the heat is a great addition to that process because it unbinds things. It loosens things up so that to allow the centrifuge to work better. And even though this is not centrifugation, it's still a separation process.
Yep. And so the end result is, all of a sudden, you need, just in terms of total materials, vastly less material. Notice we have a water theme today.
Yeah.
Hydrogel, the dying thing, and here we have fracking saying we don't need the water anymore. So thank you, smart human beings. But now, I did raise one question in my note to you, Jim, that I think we ought to just take a minute on. One of the things I'm frustrated with, if we keep this natural gas resource for ourselves, we have 120 to 150 years of clean energy. And yet what I'm seeing is Exxon and the Phillips and these others are saying, we have so much extra of this, we have to sell it to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking to myself, isn't there a national defense?
No.
See,
There is one, but here's the problem, Joel. America doesn't have a national energy policy.
Yes,
No
correct.
Republican, no Democrat has
Correct.
led us to the point where we can have a national energy policy, which is one thing I've been screaming about for years. America needs a national energy policy, and I believe you could get elected president on that platform.
Well, especially on this one, which says if we act, we ask our kids, put some money away for a rainy day. Put some energy away from a rainy day.
I agree 100%. Joel, I got to wrap it up.
Yep.
JoelBarker.com. Great discussion, great facts, and future information here. Joel, thank you for bringing it to us.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next time. Joel Barker, ladies and gentlemen, a great American. He'll be back another day. I'll be back, but not today. I'm Jim Blasingame. I'll see you later.
Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other copying, redistribution, or publication without prior written consent is prohibited. All rights reserved.